Okay, well, welcome back. We are going to tear this thing apart. As you saw in the last video, we suspect the torsen center diff in this is binding up, it's locked up, something's happened to it. I think we all want to see what I did to this and possibly see how this is preventable in the future, or if this is just going to be a semi-annual thing until I figure out the better replacement. You can see that is all just this fine metal dust, well, paste now. Hey, so there's definitely a lot of material in here. None of the bearings have been sounding good. There's no oil in them, but there's also, I think, the amount of stuff in here has just kind of wrecked every bearing surface, probably. So we're gonna slip this guy out and then tear apart the torsen center diff and then see what that looks like in there. Look at all that. We're getting closer. It's gonna be hard to focus. There's just, there's a large amount of stuff in here. There's a lot. Please hold. Oh no. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay, so, it exploded. It's not worn out. It's generally exploded. So there's four. These are kind of four outer gears on the torsen, and this would be the cage that would have held them, so that you could see. I don't even know if that's a worn notch. And it's chewed it out. Yeah. I don't know, have to find. Yeah, this is just carnage. So this would be part of the friction disc that would have sat up here, I think, on this side. I don't know if I can get this stuff out. And then, like, basically, like, the two gears will spin independently and it jams up with these outer gears and then it locks up. But it's hard to say when it failed or how long ago it failed, but it, yeah, it jammed up. And that just kept going. I'm actually surprised that I must have driven on this for a while and it was kind of just fine. I don't know. I don't really understand how, like, it's, for the amount of paste in here, it's been getting used for quite a while, but yeah, so I think we found what's wrong with it. Darkside Developments out in the UK did reach out They tore apart one of these 3-liter ones, and they also tore apart the 4.2 TDI. And the 4.2 TDI has 6 of these gears instead of the 4. Obviously, that would increase the surface area and contact, reducing load on just these 4 little guys. So I'm assuming that would be a decent upgrade to this, but ideally I'd like to go to the older Touareg T2 one with the lower engine fan locker, but because I have not seen one of those exploded yet. For now, I will be a little bit gentler to this. Okay. We got this thing in. We're going to do the Darkside Egr Cooler delete in there. That's already tuned out with the 𝐭𝐮𝐧𝐢𝐬. And then we're going to do the water pump. Noticed last week, of course, we're not done doing repairs, that it's misting out of the pulley. So before that gets worse, we're going to slap a new one in there. I didn't go for the aftermarket one this time. I'm usually Mr. OEM, but you know, buying a Transfercase last week, needing new tires, it's, yeah. We went for the $60 one instead of the OEM expensive. So we'll find out. So with the vacuum lines, like this guy gets removed, you can get these like washer repair connections, and we'll just join those 2 up, and that'll make a nice clean removal of this guy. So we're just disconnecting all the lines right now, getting everything cleared up. Great way for these glow plug connectors. Instead of grabbing the wire, get yourself a pair of these circle on like spark plug wire pullers. You can sneak down, can do this one-handed. You can grab the boot itself and just twist and pop. Twist and pop. Just like that. Then get those out of the way, and then you don't rip the wire out. The pressure sensor, you'll see a lot of guys just grab it and rip it out. It is like a 2-part connector. It will snap. So you have to go from the very bottom and try to pop it off. If you just grab that upper part of the connector, it will snap apart. They don't always go back together nicely either. I will admit there's lots of stupid designs for harness holders. This one is pretty, annoying. Okay, so we have the pressure sensor out, and then at that point, you should just be able to kind of wiggle and walk it out. Oh, can you do this one hand? Yeah. As I fall off. Yeah. There we go. Watch out. So there's usually a couple different leaks that you can get in the valley. Obviously, the oil cooler, not particularly the upper part, but the lower base plate, that'll leak oil. This coolant kind of perch that the Egr Cooler sits on, it'll snap off right here. As well as the coolant regulating valve, it'll leak out of the mechanical, like this is the vacuum actuator, and down in there is a pivot, and it'll actually leak out of that mechanical pivot. So usually when you go in here, you replace the perch, coolant regulating valve, and either reseal, this is the OEM cooler, I just replaced both gaskets on it, or replace the whole unit. They can warp, or higher mileage, they can leak internally as well. So this is the Darkside Egr Cooler kit. Comes with the block-off plates, coolant pipes that do have to trim to size, a little cap, as well as the adapter fittings, and this is what'll go on that coolant pipe. And then some clamps. So it's got everything you need. We'll get that removed and then replace the seal, pull this guy off the backside, the turbo there, and start to put this all back together. So we got the adapter fitting on, as well as we do have the block-off plate installed. Now, also, while we're here, this is the Transfercase breather and transmission breather that are both extended. So it comes all the way up from below. This is in just a universal heat shield. They're wrapped together, and then they come up and then they sit back here. They end about like halfway, and then the heat shield extends. So if they do overflow and start spraying, they're not going to spray right onto the exhaust. They'll spray within the tube or within the heat shield. So I should have some time before it just sets it all up. So I think we're just going to make a little Sharpie mark of where we want the sensor to sit. The boat. So if I can get the harness over. About right there. So that the connector's not pulled too tight. So our Sharpie mark is right here. You can see where the sensor would fit, so we're going to cut it. I'm trying to hold that right there. It's quite close. Yeah, we're going to cut it right there. So we got the clamps done up, and hide your gear clamps. It looks a lot better. These guys we're going to put actually in a serviceable way. It just slips on like that. Probably won't. Literally just dipstick the snap. Well, we've got everything back together now. Everything's all done up. We're going to take some shrink tube and seal up all the unused connectors. And I'm going to start filling it up with coolant. I've left the coolant temp sensor out, so hopefully as it fills up, it'll bubble out of here just because I don't have a vacuum filler at home. Got the water pump done. I do need to order a dipstick tube now, so you're not going to see it running today, but other than that, everything's all done now. Hope you enjoyed tuning along to round 2 of this thing not wanting to go on any adventures again, but we won. And next time, I think it's time to go on a trip.